Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this Williams Lucky 7. Very cool game. This is one of the early Williams solid state games. I believe we figured out it was the second one. And we have got this thing, basically whenever we got it, it was missing a whole bunch of parts, a bunch of boards. We've been working on the boards and we did several videos on it. We've got it up in attract mode now. And we kind of need to finish it. We've already done like 4 videos on it. One of them was on the play field and just all kinds of board work. So we need to finish it up. So we're going to finish it up on this video. So like I said, it's in attract mode. We've had this thing where it was resetting. I think I figured that out. Or locking up, not resetting. I think I figured that out. I think it was a bad connection on one of the sockets. But I think we're good now. Seeing if these customers are coming in here. All right, I had a customer bring me a machine and drop it off. All right, so we're working on the Lucky 7. Now, like I said, it's in attract. Let's see if we can get it to start. I don't think it's got any credits. Let's see if it'll take a credit. So we're getting credits, but we're not getting any noise, so the solenoids aren't working. Is there a ball in there? There's no pinball in there. Let's see if it'll... I don't know that the Williams will start without a ball, but let's see. Yeah, start button worked. Okay, on this particular one, and I heard, by the way, I just heard a click on the MPU, which is probably the flipper relay. See these lights cycling? This particular game doesn't really have an attract mode. So the reason it's doing that is because the ball is in play now, although it didn't actually shoot it out. So if you land on this, it should stop those lights. And it did, but it didn't spin the reels because we don't have any solenoids. Let's see if the flippers are working. Well, one is. So that's where we're at. We got one working flipper. No other working solenoids, but it looks like the scoring is working. Or some of the scoring. Yeah. So the flickering you're seeing is the camera. Also, the spinner is missing. So at least some things are working. The kickers are not working. All right, yeah, so we've got some scoring working. We have displays working. We've got one bad one, the missing one. Looks like most of the lamps are working. So we're limping along here. Let me see if we can figure out what's going on with our solenoids. So here are the beautiful schematics. Now, like I said, this was the second solid state game they made. I think they had some, what do they call it when there's like a sample game? Prototype. They had some prototypes before that, but this was the second one. Hot Tip and then Lucky 7. And they were very proud of what they had accomplished. So they sent this big package of almost blueprint-like schematics. With the paperwork that came with the machine. So this is the layout of the CPU. So what we're trying to figure out is the flippers are working, no other solenoids are working. That should be easy. So here's the driver board. If you didn't watch our previous videos when we worked through all this stuff, go back and check them out. There's a playlist. This is the flipper relay. So basically this can be turned on and off by the computer. And that must be on because our flippers are working. Okay. So, if you look on the schematics, we find that here. This is the relay that turns on the flippers. And see the ground returns? Basically, the grounds run into this relay, and if the relay is not on, they're not connected to the ground. But if the relay is pulled in, it connects these together, which connects somewhere. Where is my... I'm trying to find where it tells us that this is connected to ground. I guess this is the ground. See how these are all tied together? I guess this is the ground coming from the power supply. It's funny, though, that it doesn't say that it's grounded on the board. Maybe because it's not. I don't know. Let's see. I'm still looking. Give me a second. I'm looking through it. Yeah, the way I'm reading it, it connects, all of those grounds get their signal from the lamp and solenoid board. So lamp and solenoid ground, which is connector 2J10. I'm trying to figure out why are the flippers working and nothing else is working. And by flippers, I mean the one flipper. Okay, yeah. Solenoid ground. This is the power supply. So it connects to ground at the power supply. Now let's find the schematics. I mean the wiring diagram. Don't you wish everything had beautiful schematics like this anymore? Look at this. They send you freaking production drawings with it. Just awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Somewhere there will be... Here we go. I wish there was something that showed that connection. Switches, the reels. Okay. Yeah, so you have the solenoid drive. Here's 2J10, the solenoid ground. But I don't know where that's going to. I suppose it's coming from here on the power supply, which we just looked at. So, long story longer. When this driver board is turning on the flipper relay, it is just grounding the flippers. So how do the flippers get the voltage that they need? And again, we're just trying to figure out why it is that they're working and the other ones are not working. It's because they get their voltage from a different place. Once I find it here, it will all make so much sense. You'll say, oh, I see now. All of you that work on these a little bit already know. You're going, oh man, why is he taking so much time? Oh, this is horrible. Well, if I can find the schematics for the power supply, were they back this way? At least we have them. If we could ever find the page that we need. Is this what we're looking for? We're getting close, people. Keep your fingers crossed. I want to show you where the flippers get their power. Flippers, where are you? We have found it. Aren't you glad you waited? Okay, so on the transformer, if you want to know how to tell if something's a transformer, if it has little curly lines, it's a transformer. That's my understanding. Look at this. So the power comes in from the wall, runs through a switch and stuff, and then it wires up this transformer. Excuse me. This transformer transforms the input power, 120 volts for us here in the United States, into secondary power. And it has all these different windings. So it has a 6.3 volt AC winding. So those two lines go out and they make the general illumination work. Okay. Then it has a 9.3 volts AC transformer secondary winding with a center tap. And that's used to create the logic supply, 18.7 volt AC center tap. Now the purpose of that is it gets regulated down on the volt on the. This is the transformer on the power supply. That voltage gets regulated down to 5 volts. I've always wondered, why do they start with such a high voltage? Like, why are they doing that with 18 volts? Does that up the amperage? Maybe that's why. I'm not sure. But they turn that whole 18 volts down into 5 volts. And then we have, we'll skip this one because this is what we're going to talk about. We have this one, a 13.5 volt AC winding that runs into a bridge rectifier, BR1, bridge rectifier, which will turn that AC wiring into DC voltage. And then that is the, what are they calling it? Look, here it is. It comes out here, has a cap to make it do its thing. That's the 18 volts that it needs for the lamps. Now here on Williams games, they do this weird thing with the lights where they use 18 volts to power up a 6-volt lamp. And they do it with a strobe somehow, where it's doing this crap. I don't know how they do it, but somehow they strobe the ground or something to the lamps, and it makes it where the lamp only has 6 volts at any time. It's above my head. Okay, and then here we have our solenoid rectifier. So in the back of the back box, there is a transformer that plugs into a bridge rectifier, BR2, for the solenoids. Okay, so here's the AC coming in. That turns it, it's 25.5 volts. That turns it into DC power. Notice there's no capacitor or anything on this one. And that is 28 volts. So they are able to take 25 volts AC, and once you run it through a bridge rectifier, it actually ups the voltage a little bit. So 28 volts, and typically it's a little higher than that. But look at this. There are 2 leads off of it. One is the solenoid power, and one is the flipper B plus power. I like how they use B plus. Old school radio stuff. If you don't know, now you know, right? So there's 2 lines coming off this bridge rectifier. One does the flippers, and the other one does all the other solenoids. So where does that line go? Well, that line. Let's find the actual power board schematic. God, I might have to. There should be like tabs or something. I mean, I like that they sent all of it, but... Okay, there's the power supply. Here we go. So, some of that's coming in too, right? We'll have to just do it backwards. Where's their solenoid voltage at? Okay, here. So here is the solenoid voltage that's going out. Not to be confused with the solenoid grounds we looked at earlier. So the 28 volts comes out of the power supply by running through this fuse. Okay, comes in here. Here's ground. There's a cap, a smaller cap, a varistor, and then a fuse. 2.5 amp slow blow fuse. I'll get it out eventually. So you've got your voltage running in here. It has a cap between it and ground, varistor between it and ground, and then it runs through a fuse and then back out. So where does it go from there? That's what feeds everything. So on the play field, for instance, this is it here from the power supply. Red wire. And it gives power to the ball release, the right drop target reset, the left drop target reset, the right reel, the center reel, the left jet bumper, the right jet bumper, the right kicker, the left kicker, and none of those work right now. So maybe that wire's messed up, right? Well, maybe, but keep in mind that we also don't have the chimes. So the chimes are down in the bottom of the cabinet, and they get a wire from the power supply as well, a red wire, but it's a different pin, you know. And it comes up, and it provides power to the coin lockout on the coin door, which isn't working. and it provides the power to the 10 point, 100 point, 1,000 point, and 10,000 point chimes. The noise unit, oh yeah, there's a noise unit, the knocker, and the buzzer. I think actually the noise unit is removed, but it provides power to all of that. So none of this is working. So obviously the problem is the voltage coming out of that power supply. Could be as simple as the fuse is blown. So that's what we check first. Now, I know what you're thinking. Did he really just take 10 minutes to tell us the fuse is probably blown? You're damn right. All right, we're live, people. Don't touch anything. Okay, now here is the solenoid bridge rectifier. See how there's two wires connected to the one lug? Right, so this wire is the one that's running down and making the flippers work. So we've got our voltage right here, which we can confirm with the multimeter. 38 volts. Okay, and then it comes up here. That orange wire comes around, and this is it here. And again, we've got 38 volts. So if you look at the little legend down here, it tells you on this particular machine which fuse is what. And the second fuse is the 28 volts. Now notice we had 38. It's just probably because it's unregulated, and also the line voltage is all hopped up now. You know, these power companies, they keep juicing us. I love it. I don't want it to be low. You know what I mean? If it's supposed to be 117, I don't want it to be 114. 128, that's a little high, but okay. All right, so it comes in here, and then it should be run through that fuse, which looks fine. Got our 38 volts at the bottom of the fuse. Do not have it at the top of the fuse. So that fuse is blown bigger than crap. So that's probably our problem. Now what blew the fuse? Any one of those coils could have blew the fuse. So I'll show you how you figure that out. There's an easy way to figure it out. They call them slow blow for a reason. That thing ain't gonna blow as soon as we turn it on, but it's gonna start blowing as soon as we turn it on. So you put your 2.5 amp fuse in there, don't overfuse it. Don't put I know you wanna put a 3, don't do it. Don't do it, folks, not even once, okay? You put your fuse in there, and then you turn this sucker on. And when you do, turn it right back off. But in the interim between turning it on and turning it back off, one of the coils might lock on. If it does, figure out which one locked on, and then that's your problem. Fuse is installed, so like I said, we're gonna turn it off and right back on. I mean on and right back off. If I turned it off and right back on, that would be completely backwards. Nothing, no problems. Nothing, no problems, okay? You still might have a problem. You know, I think we swapped the driver board out anyway, so, or it didn't even have one. Oh, wait a minute. This power supply wasn't even in this game. I've been working on it a while, people. It's all starting to run together. We got a bunch of games we're working on here. All right, so notice it saved our credits that we put on it earlier. So I'm going to start it and just see what happens, and we'll go from there. I guess all of the coils were working, the chimes. It kicked up our 2 drop targets. I saw these move, and you heard it, okay? So let's stop it, and it says that this should change the right wheel. It did, 1 step. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that makes sense. They can't really spin them. It would just move it. Let's do the center one. That's cool. Let's do the left one. That's cool. All right. And then here, same thing. It's a cool game where you try to line up, you know, the same thing, and then I guess you score it. Making both drop targets scores the lit value. I guess that would be the lit value there. I haven't played this one in a while. I wish we could find that plastic there, but you know, that's like unobtainium. Okay, so our coils are working. Our left flipper is not. Our right one is. I don't know if our kick-out coil is. I didn't hear it. Let's see if the thumper bumpers want to thump. Very cool. Let's see if the kickers want to kick. That one does. Are we missing a sound there? They're not scoring. That one did. All right, so that switches under the playfield. Okay, think we might have our coils working. So let's pop up the playfield and see why our left flipper is not working. So there's the right one. It's a little cobwebby, but it looks pretty good. And then the left one, come on, people. It don't have the. Come on now. There's what? It's not even hooked. Here we go with this again, Joe. Why didn't you tell me it was? We have our first double come on. Come on, people. If you're blowing that many fuse, come on now. If you blow the fuse, you got the. If there's a problem with the fuse blowing, you got to fix it. You can't just put a new. I mean, come on now. Come on, people. This is gonna get real expensive. This is like 100. They're all. Why would they all be blown? Come on now. This ain't how you do it. All right. So everybody always wants to know about the knocker. The knocker often is stuck. Like this one is stuck right now. If I move that, I can spin it, but it won't go up. Why is that? It's probably just stuck to the rubber ring under it. I just broke it loose. Rubber ring and all. It's all coming with it, people. That's all right. So that needs cleaned up. You're going to hear it for the first time in years. Let's see if I put a credit on it, if it does it. Bam, bam. Fix that. Okay, let's see if the chimes are all four working. It sure didn't sound like it. It sounded like one of them was stuck or something. Oh, let's just test and see if they feel stuck. Of course, I'm doing this with the power on. It's a good way to get electroshocked. Please don't bite me, Mr. Chime. Please. Okay, that one seems free. Oh yeah, that'd probably do it, wouldn't it? If the wire's disconnected, that would probably do it. Let's move that out of the way so I don't get killed. Don't do this at home, people. Don't do it. Not even once. What the hell? That didn't sound right, did it? What are they doing? Look. It's like it's stuck. So these need completely rebuilt. And then this one, it's almost like it's glued. All right, we're loose now, kind of. See if it sounds now. Needs a little work, but yeah, the wire being disconnected would probably cause it not to work. All right, let's see what we can do here. I'll see if I can fix those. We'll turn it off, and I'll put a flipper coil on it, and we'll see about this. See about these chime units. All right, so I looked in my stash. I do not have a flipper coil, so I ordered one and some flipper plungers to get that thing nice and snappy again. I think the other coils are fine. Everything's resetting, and I've taken apart the chime plates. What do they call them? They call them chimes, don't they? I've taken apart the chimes, and I guess the plates actually are the chimes. And I cleaned them up a little bit. I put basically underneath. I've done this like 100 times on videos. That's why I didn't film it. You see, I've got all the grease on my hands. Underneath the actual plate, there is a little rubber washer. And I replaced that. I usually just use a rubber pinball ring. So I put one of those on each side and then put it all back together, and it looks to me like they're going to sound a heck of a lot better now. So I got those. We got to wait on the flipper, but I can clean the switches and adjust them and see if that gets us where those are making points again. The kickers, the way they work is this plunger goes down and there's a switch right there underneath the playfield that closes, and when it closes, that's what scores the points. And once it scores, basically it tells the computer that switch is closed, and then the computer adds 10 points, 100 points, whatever it is, and tells the chime to fire. So it's all related. So let me turn it back on, and I think it plays a little medley, or I guess I'd hit start, but we'll get it to play a little medley and see how they sound. I resoldered the wire that was broken too. I wonder if they've got them wired wrong. Is that how it's supposed to sound? Dun, 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 dun. And what does that mean? Like, is that any kind of legible melody? If they switched the wires around, it would change the song, but I guess that's just how it's supposed to sound. I'll have to watch an old video of mine and see if that sounds right. I've been checking this lately. You know, I've been consistently uploading videos now for about 8 years, something like that. And so now, whenever I want to do that, instead of searching my own channel, I can just type it in. So if I type Lucky 7 Pinball in YouTube, it gives me an ad trying to sell me the new Stern. And then my man Doug's home arcade collection pops up #1. And then we're the video below it. We admire a Williams 1977 Lucky 7 pinball machine, early System 3 solid state game with chimes. And then my guy Todd Tucky's right below me there. He's got many more views though. And he's talking about the coils. And then here's another one of me, Lucky 7. And then here's Mark's Basement Arcade. He's working on one. And then here's another one of me. And then here's another one of me working on the chimes on the previous one. So I repaired the chimes. Maybe that video there will show some of the chimes.
Much better.
Yeah, much better.
Okay, let's see if I can get it to do any of them.
Let's see if I can get it to... Yeah. Well, it'll do one.
Well, it'll do the same one.
I'm in stereo. All right, so I got my coil in and my plunger links in. So on a flipper, this is really the main problem that you run into on them. This is a brand new one. Look how when you move this fiber link, it just barely moves before the metal moves. That's because the little hole in the fiber link is about the same size as that little, what do they call that? Pin. Here's the original one. See how much that moves? It's because the hole is all wallowed out in the fiber link. Okay. You also get problems at the end, but your main problem is that if that moves that much, what happens is every time you hit the button, the electromagnetic nature of the coil pulls this in. That's how the coil works. And it pulls it all this distance before it grabs the link that then moves the flipper. So it's not just a timing thing where it happens after you press the button, it's a weakness thing. It makes it a lot weaker. So that's where your play is always going to be. So I'm not the first to replace these. If there's a little bit of play, I just leave it. But this is horrible. I mean, this is really bad. So brand new ones. You could just buy the link and replace it, but you run into the problem too where the end gets all beat up. You know? So why not new ones? These things are getting crazy expensive though. but I got these from Marco Specialties. So you can get them Marco Specialties, the Pinball Resource. There's lots of places that will sell you flipper rebuild parts. And it's the same for like 10 years worth of machines. So someone had made that as the clip that mounts on the bottom of the flipper here. Come on, people. It's supposed to be like that. Come on now. Those are real cheap now. Come on now. You don't have to make your own. It's a new plunger. New plunger. Now we got to rewire it with the new coil. All right, folks. So we got it wired up. Now you got to be careful when you do that. There's different ways that they're wired. So just make it like the old one was. And if you don't have the old one, make it like the one on this side is. So for instance, on this one, there are 2 diodes, but they're arranged a little bit differently than how you usually see them. But we got it right. Okay, and the next thing that I'm going through, just changing light bulbs and stuff, typical stuff. And so I got down to these 2 drop targets. These are the old school Williams drop targets. Remember, this is their second solid state game. This is even before Flash. And they have a little horseshoe thing that is supposed to slide down this little board. Well, I've cleaned up the board and put a little synthetic grease on it, but the horseshoe is broke. So I got to try to find one of those. That's pretty common, and you can buy that part. You can even buy these boards new. There's even new modern ones that have sensors and stuff like that you can put in if you like. But I think I've got one of those horseshoes around here somewhere. All right, I thought I had some, but I did not, so I'm going to have to order some, but they're on the way. But I put it back together so we can at least play it. It's just it won't. That actually kind of cripples this game because you need to hit both of those drop targets to score the real scores. So you got to have that. And so in other words, this thing ain't never worked right since that broke all those years ago. Okay, so one of the next things we need to do is I need to touch up this paint on the front a little bit. The sides aren't that bad, but this front's pretty rough. So I'm going to see if I can match some colors and just paint it back in by hand. I'm going to take the legs off. I'm not going to worry about taking the coin door or the shooter rod off, though. And let's see if I can find a green that's anything like the other green. All right, so I am working under the playfield here, and these 3 score reels on this particular game, it's very important that they work right. So you've got to clean this little board. It's much more important than it usually is. Usually, if that board is dirty on a regular pinball machine, an electromechanical pinball machine, you'll get a problem where it won't match right, or the high score reward won't match right, won't work right. But that's all it's used for. It's not actually used for gameplay. On this game, it's definitely used for gameplay. So the whole purpose of the game is you hit these targets in the center that give you different prizes depending on, or when you hit the drop targets, you score the prize that's on the reels, and it's like a slot machine. But it needs to know exactly where the wheel is on all 3 of them all the time. So you have to get it clean, or it just won't play right. Basically, you won't be able to win any of the prizes. But I'm going to show you something, all you pinball guys and girls that are into repairing these, especially these EMs. I'm going to show you something you may have never seen before. The middle one has a special little setup. Usually, it has that little horseshoe one, just like on the drop target we were just messing with. But on the middle one, it has this. For whatever reason, they just designed it like that. So I guess they made a new part. There may have been, maybe it was used on a previous game that I'm not aware of, but this is the only game I've ever seen it in like this and not have the regular little horseshoe target. And so I guess the reasoning for it is they just wanted it to touch different connections depending on where it was. So it looks like what it's doing is, instead of touching that middle ring like it usually does, see the middle trace? There's no connection on the common. So all it does is just connect from one side to the other. And I'm sure it took them a long time to think of doing it that way. And like I said, there may have been an EM that had a similar slot reel thing in it that maybe worked the same, but this is the only one I've ever seen. All right, so I'm cleaning these up, and we'll put them back in there. All right, so we got those all clean. Let me show you how it works. It says here on the instruction card, we haven't cleaned this up yet, but real value is as follows. Clover, any should give you 5,000 in double bonus. So these are on any. If we set this one to clover, it lights up 5,000 and double bonus. And the way you score that is you knock both drop targets down. I put my little horseshoe on. So it scored it. It stayed on that value though because the wheels didn't turn. Okay. So clover, any, 5,000 and lights double bonus. So it lit the double bonus. You score the bonus at the end of the ball. Okay, clover, any should make it 10,000. Right? And lights double bonus. Okay, clover should say 20,000 and extra ball. 20,000 and extra ball. And again, the only reason this works is because we've got those little PCBs very clean. Okay. Next up, horseshoe. Horseshoe should do 20,000. That's correct. Diamond should do 30,000. And by the way, the last reel, 30,000. The last reel had that same little sideways connector on it that we were talking about. So basically, since this one kind of determines what's going on, if you look, this is the one that determines, the left reel is the one that determines what the score is going to be. It kind of depends on what you start with. And then the other ones are always, well, not always, but usually, where they have to be the same one. So that's why they're using that little straight across connector. Okay, and our last one is 777 should light up 30,000 and special. All right, and our score is 65,300. If we drop both drop targets, 97,300. We got an extra 2,000 because we actually dropped the drop targets. So that seems to be working perfect. And then I guess we got the special, which gave us an extra guy. An extra man. An extra credit. My arcade game playing is showing an extra guy. So we got an extra credit. Did it knock? Did you hear the knocker knock? Let's see if it'll do it again. I heard it. Did you hear it? I heard it. So the knocker's working. It appears everything's functioning, people. Kind of seems like it's all functioning. So we got to do the thing in the back box. The what do you call it? The little fuses that we have to add. And I repainted the front. Looks pretty good. It's kind of like the green didn't line up, but apparently it doesn't on any of them. I looked at some other pictures. The kind of looks like a craft project, but it was pretty rough. So by hand, that was about the best I could do. This side's kind of faded in the front too, but I think it looks much more presentable now. Okay, so we gotta mess with the lockdown bar. We're still waiting on our other. I gotta find another display, and we've got to put those two fuses in it for safety's purposes. All right, folks, we're working through it. I have replaced the spring on the shooter rod, got it cleaned up, and I showed you the paint that we did. I think it's decent. We had somebody, Joe, on your video the other day when you were restoring the playfield, they said it was the worst restoration they'd ever seen. Well, they said that they should have sent it to Todd Tuckey to get it done perfect. He'd make it look like new again.
Well, that's good. I like Todd.
I like Todd Tuckey. I don't know why they're trying to start a fight between us and the great Todd Tuckey. Yep. I would never do that. Todd, you're the man. Okay, so we have installed the fuses. So if you don't know, there are two little bridge rectifiers back here in Williams System 3 all the way up to the, believe it or not, the Williams pinball machine called Fire. So from System 3, which is the first solid states, all the way up to the game called Fire, there was a problem in the back box that could cause a fire. So if either one of these bridge rectifiers shorts, it starts burning up the wires because there's no fuse. So the fuse is all the way back on the other side of the transformer on the primary instead of the secondary. It causes all kinds of problems. So what you do is, This one here, the two AC wires running to that bridge rectifier are blue. So if you cut one of those, you don't have to do both. Cut one of them, and if you cut it just right, you can solder a fuse holder in there and then put an 8 amp slow blow fuse in it, and that fuses that bridge rectifier. So now if it shorts, it blows that fuse. And then this one over here uses red wires on the AC, so you do the same thing. That one's a little tougher to get it over there, but we have done it. So 2 fuse holders, 8 amp slow blow fuses, and then that fixes the problem. All right, folks, so we'll play it a little bit and test it out. I think we've about got all the kinks worked out of it. So let me go over real quick again what we did with this machine. The power supply was missing, so we found an old power supply, fixed it up, put it in, verified all the voltages, everything was cool. The MPU was in it, but was like destroyed. So we cleaned up all the battery damage. We burnt all new ROMs for it, put a whole ton of sockets on it, got it working perfectly with the help of Leon's test ROM. The driver board was missing, so we found a driver board, tested it with Leon's test ROM, and got it all working. Every lamp, every switch, every solenoid. We did the fuse mod on the the solenoid. I'm not the solenoid. The bridge rectifiers in the back box for the solenoid voltage and the lamp voltage. We swapped the back glass with a better one that we just happened to have because the old back glass was pretty rough. We repainted the front of the cabinet and touched up the paint on the head. We stripped down the playfield, touched up some paint on the playfield, mainly the black lines, and re-rubbered it, put that all back together. We replaced a missing horseshoe contact on the right drop target there that wasn't working right. We cleaned and serviced the 3 score reels in the middle. We cleaned all the switches under the playfield. We replaced all the light bulbs on the bottom and the top of the playfield with the original incandescent cool ones, right? We rebuilt the chime unit so it sounds good. And we fixed a broken wire on the varistor. Varistor? I always get this wrong. Varistor, I believe. The line filter, basically. We put a lockdown bar on it. The old one was broken in half, unfortunately. Cleaned up the apron. And is that it? Oh, painted the legs. And new spring on the shooter rod. New locks. The master display was missing. Found a master display, fixed it, installed it in the game. And one of the 4 slave displays was missing. Found one, put it in the game. Other than that, it didn't really need all that much. Also a new pinball. Now, I've had people ask me, you know the old thing saying that no question is a stupid question. That's true. That you cannot turn down or up the volume of the chimes. They just are what they are. And we also have this pretty steep. We've got it sloped up. Now, keep in mind, this is only William's 2nd solid state pinball machine. Oh, we replaced the flipper coil that was missing and both of the flipper plungers. So we got pretty decent flippers on this sucker. Ooh, nice spinner shot. So if I can... Oh. We got to read the instructions so everybody knows what's going on. I'm not going to be all that great at playing this because it's a precision game, and I'm not really that precise. So our buddy MRN Bricks, he said he had an opportunity to buy one of these last weekend and he didn't buy it. I told him he had to go back. You got to go back, buddy. Come on, man. Okay, now see how the drop targets went down, but they didn't come back up? So is that a error? Is something messed up? No, nothing is messed up. On this game, when you drop the drop targets, you score whatever the real value is. But nothing's lit because the real value isn't anything yet. So what'll happen is if I hit those targets and it changes one of those reels, particularly the last one, if I could get that to a diamond, or if I could get the front one to, a clover, it will light some of these lights. I will score that then, and both of the drop targets will come up. They won't reset or score if there's nothing to score. Ooh. I missed it. I was trying to control that. Missed it. Go down the right one. Oh, come on. Watch if any of those lights light up. You'll see it immediately score, and then the drops will reset. Okay, one more on the left one, and we're good. Missed it. Oh, come on. So he didn't score that time because it was at the end of the game. So let me play this last ball and then we'll read the instructions. It's kind of a fun game once you kind of learn how it plays, like what it's supposed to do. And the theme, the Las Vegas casino theme is pretty strong. All right, so I'm going to read the instructions. Insert coins and then press start button to set up game for 1 to 4 players. So if you press start button more than once, you get more than a 1-player game. Each player shoots 1 ball at a time as indicated on the back glass, so whoever's lit up, right now it's his first up. It's their turn. Tilt penalty is the ball in play. Tilt does not disqualify a player. Top rollover lanes and center targets change the playfield reels. So there are reels in the middle of the playfield. Right now, I have 3 clovers. So it is lit up 20,000 points and extra ball is lit up. Clover, clover, clover. You might not be able to see it that well on the camera. All right, it says, align symbols on reels to increase the reel value. Making both drop targets scores the reel value and resets the targets for possible repeat scoring. That's pretty cool. Targets reset only when some real value is lit. So the targets will go down and they'll kind of wait there. It's almost like you got it loaded, right? Until you get the reel set up to where something here is lit up. As soon as that's lit up, you'll score that, and then the targets will come back up, but that doesn't move the reels, so whatever's lit up will stay lit up. Which is kind of cool if you think about it. Reel value is as follows. So there's the left, the middle, and the right reel. So clover, and then any on the middle and any on the third, gives you 5,000 and double bonus. It doesn't actually give you that unless you hit both the drop targets, but it lights that up. Clover, clover, and anything gives you 10,000 and double bonus. Clover, clover, clover gives you 20,000 and an extra ball. Now, the way they have these set up, too, the reels there's multiples of each thing. So it's easier to get the clovers than it is to get some of the other stuff. If you get horseshoe, 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 20,000 lights up. If you get diamond, 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 30,000 lights up. And if you get 777, that's your lucky 7, name of the game. 30,000 and special lights up. Now the special on this, it says scores 1 credit. So you win a free game. So it's kind of a one-trick pony game. There are other shots and stuff, but it all kind of revolves around those reels. So if you don't like that gimmick, you wouldn't like the game. But the bells, the chimes, they kind of remarkably go with that's what the old school casinos kind of sounded like. They had a lot of bells on the games back in the day. All right, let's play it again. I thought that chime, that little tune, might have been wrong, but it's not. I listened to another video, one of my older videos, and it does the same thing. Now you see how it's just rolling through. It doesn't say how you get that. I don't even know if you can score that. I don't know if that's the skill shot. It doesn't say anything on it about a skill shot. That may just be for show. Let's see. We're at 0 points. Let's see what happens. But I got 1,000 points for rolling through, so if there is a skill shot, I didn't get it. Their only game before this one was Hot Tip, which was a horse racing game. So they did a horse racing game and a casino game. But of course, this is the great Williams Electronics. They had done tons of pinballs for, you know, what? You like that little English there? They had done tons of pinballs for, at this point, about 45 years, something like that. Very satisfying spinner shot. But we robbed ourselves of our lit reel there. So we gotta get some more reels moving. Oh, come on now. Okay, so it rotates them apparently at the beginning of the ball. So it just gave me clover, horseshoe, diamond. So since that's clover, any, 5,000 and lights double bonus is lit up. So that moved the right one, which is still, ooh. Ooh. Let's see if I can get anything interesting. You kind of want to go on the left one if you've got the 2 right ones lined up. So the 2 right ones are, the center and the right are horseshoe, horseshoe. So it's clover, horseshoe, horseshoe. I missed. Hit the wrong one, but it didn't matter. I'm playing with it too much. All right, we're gonna play one more game. I had 92,000 points. The high score that's built into it's 350,000, which I have yet to beat. Yeah, so this thing where the lights are going, it looks like a skill shot, but I don't think there's a skill shot there. I think they're just showing off. They're just showing that they can do that. They're literally just making lights move. keep in mind on an EM machine, that would be very hard to do. I mean, it can be done, but you would need a motor probably. But on this, they can just have the CPU control it and make it do that. Okay, let's get some points. So we're set up. If I can just get that left reel to move, it'll give us the double bonus. Come on, left reel. Move the left reel. There we go. Okay, so see how I immediately scored it, and then it immediately reset the drop targets. So it's still on what I scored, which was lights double bonus and 10,000 points. So it lit my double bonus, and I've got it maxed out. So I'm going to get 60,000 points whenever the ball drains, but there's no way to score the bonus on the playfield. So we're already maxed out. All we can do now is try to get more points from the spinner or the center reels or whatever. Okay, so I should get a bunch of points. I believe the chimes fired for each 6,000 point step that it went through. Okay, we're back to it rippling. There we go. Ugh. Are there no switches up there? I don't think there are. Are there switches up there? There are not. Okay. So whenever it lands on that, it just rolls off. There's no switches there, so there's nothing for it to hit and score. All right, 144,900 points. Let's play one more game. It plays pretty smooth for its age. So you should be able, if you can get both of the drop targets down, you should be able to get the double bonus pretty easy. Because all you have to do to get the double bonus is the left one has to be a clover. And so there's a couple clovers. Ooh, I can get an extra ball. Oh, it took it from me. All I had to do was hit that right drop target. So all I gotta do is get that right drop target. Ah, I missed it. It's still gonna be there though. Maybe it'll popcorn over that way and get it. Nope. Oh, come on, I'm all over it. Come on now. Like I said, if you're a more precise player where you can hit the targets well, you do much better on a game like this. All right, so nothing is scored because the reels aren't proper. I need to get that left one to change. There we go. Yeah, I did good. I got 30,000 points because we had there for just a split second. 3 horseshoes. That aspect of it, how it kind of holds its position of having both drop targets down until there's something possible for you to score, I think that's really cool. Oh, I missed. So you kind of load it up and then, so now it's loaded, right? So depending on what I can get it to score, if I hit the left one, that's going to give me a clover, diamond, clover, which is 5,000 points, but I also get to light the double bonus. Bam. That's kind of cool how it saves it, kind of. That's an interesting little concept. All right. Bum 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 bum. I got 181,000, Rodney. That was the best I could get, buddy. I'm sure he'll beat that. He's really talented at these. He practices a lot. That and roller skate. He's good at roller skating, he says. I believe him, too. I think he is. So there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave your comments down below. It was cool bringing the thing back from where it was. I think it came out pretty good. Looks better with the lights down, but it looks pretty good. There's some more things that could be done to it to make it nicer, but we, you know, we'd have to find some more parts, spend some more money. So we'll talk to Rodney about that. But I wish I could find somebody that could help us with this center plastic with the cracked window. If anybody has those or has reproduced those or something, let us know, because that's going to drive Rodney crazy. But leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. And make sure to check out my brother Donnie if you don't know about that. My brother has his own channel here on YouTube. We work on pinball machines, arcade games, and jukeboxes on this channel. But on his channel, he works on older vehicles, old buildings. Lately, we've been working on a mobile home that we bought that was completely destroyed. We're fixing it up. So check that out. I'm over there with him a lot on his channel. And we will see you on the next video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did.